already start off, and here we go with episode 40. Holy shit, dude, this is gonna be great. I can't wait. I'm so super excited to talk to you tonight.
What a dick. At least sound like you kind of mean it.
Let's go. It's time. Put on play pants.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 40 of our Play Pants podcast. He's Jason Ginty. I'm Rod Ryan. What are we going to talk about tonight? Well, everyone's still kind of talking about the Super Bowl. It was last Sunday. I thought maybe we could bring up and talk just briefly, because I know it's already kind of been exhausted, but we'll talk a little bit about the halftime show. I haven't talked to Jason about what he thought and his takeaway from the halftime show, which I saw immediately while it was happening. Best halftime show ever. I saw that while it was still happening. I saw that nonstop. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We've got Mardi Gras. I'm going to be down in Galveston this weekend. You can tell me what's going on in New Orleans this weekend. Of course, you and I will get together next weekend. I'll be bringing the kid to New Orleans, and we're going to celebrate a little Mardi Gras style in New Orleans. So I'm excited about that. We've got a significant birthday coming up in the band Green Day, and our task today was coming up with our top 5 favorite Green Day songs. Holy shit, Jason. This band's got a lot of songs.
Yeah, I was going through my list, and I'm like, oh, this should be so easy, because I'm immediately going to cut out all the ones we play on the radio every day constantly, because I love those songs, but all right, got it. And then I started digging around, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that song. The whole I forgot about. And now I am back diving in to all my Green Day CDs, and I'm now back into being a huge Green Day fan, and I'll be listening to it tomorrow all day. And we'll talk about it in a second, but God damn it, they still deliver the goods. Man.
They do. And I've got a pretty recent song in my top 5 coming up. So I think that this band's got some more left in the tank.
Totally.
I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but Super Bowl halftime show. Best halftime show ever. If you were a young Gen X or a millennial, this was your show. It's all about nostalgia. They think they have us figured out with the pandemic. We needed to be reminded of our youth, and this is what they delivered. How was that halftime show for you?
I thought it was good. First of all, I don't sit around listening to Dre and Eminem, so I don't know a lot of the songs, obviously. I mean, I remember us going out, and you'd hear those songs up and down Bourbon Street. You know, those were ones that the girls would be dancing to. So we'd pop into Razoo, and 50 Cent's playing, Dre's playing, Eminem's playing, and we're like, awesome, cool. But it was just background music to me. I never got into those artists, Snoop Dogg, all that stuff. I'm like, I asked my wife, I go, I don't remember what Snoop Dogg sang. She's like, you're an idiot. I'm like, all right. So I sat down and I'm watching. I'm like, I thought the whatever that little village they brought out was kind of cool.
Was that supposed to symbolize house parties?
I guess it was a little weird, because it looked like they didn't have time to paint it. That's what I kept thinking. Like they run out of time to paint this thing for $7 million.
Well, you've got African Americans, and you need to get a good visual on people. They're going to pop with that as the background.
That's true.
I mean, that's not being a dick, but I think that's probably some of the reasoning behind it. And I think they were supposed to be house parties.
Right.
I think.
I thought the concept was cool. They kind of worked the 50 Cent video where he's hanging upside down in it and stuff. I thought there was a lot of cool stuff. I thought Eminem came out and had the most energy. It just felt a little flat to me. It didn't feel like there was a lot of energy. Again, don't know the songs, but from a performance standpoint, it just felt like where's the energy? They look like they're just like, hey man, what's up? And I know Snoop ain't got a lot of energy because he's 145 years old and smoking weed all the time. But I thought Eminem brought it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is badass. Or maybe it's just because I knew that song the most.
I knew all the songs. I know who they are. I know them all very well. I guess I didn't know the Mary J. Blige song, but I know her. And I see why people liked it. When people said it was the best halftime show ever, if those are your favorite guys and gal, then that was your best halftime show ever. Is it going to go down in the record books? Is it going to go down in history as being the best halftime show ever? No, it will not. I don't think on any list it will ever be listed as the greatest halftime show of all time. That's why you and we cover our asses when we do these lists, and they're our favorite fill in the blanks.
Right.
So you got to kind of separate the two. Was it the best halftime show of all time? No. If Dr. Dre, if the Chronic album was everything to you when it came out, I was a little too much. We were doing grunge. We were doing Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. And that's when all that stuff was popping at the exact same time. The difference was our music, the stuff that you and I liked, that was ruling the world. Little did we know that hip hop was going to push all that stuff out of the way and say, And that's, that for a long time was the most popular music.
It just was weird to I don't know. I immediately thought, as soon as I started seeing that on Twitter, I'm like, you guys didn't see the Prince halftime show, I suppose, or the U2 halftime show. Or
when somebody said it's the best halftime show of all time, the first thing I wanted to say to somebody, tell me 3 halftime shows other than this one. Just tell me 3 other ones that you have recognized that there has been other shows. And I don't think the person that said that was the greatest halftime show of all time could name 3 others.
No, probably
Most
not.
people I don't think could do that.
I mean, Prince, as soon as I started seeing it, I'm like, well, you gotta get past Prince first. Okay, now that's gonna be a feat. I mean, it's raining down and he's playing Purple Rain. I mean, come on, you can't even mess with that. And in U2, and what was it, after 2001 in the Superdome, and that was amazing. And then I even was starting to think back, okay, well, the Who was kind of okay. Tom Petty was always just okay. It was cool.
That's when they got real conservative after the Tittygate. So they started getting all those classic rock bands. So that was here, Janet Jackson. I was at that one. I saw that. Not that I could see her little niddler from where I was sitting, but they got super conservative after that.
Right.
And that's where they started bringing in Tom Petty, like you mentioned, and the Who. And, those were boring halftime shows. They were boring.
There was no energy. I mean, the songs, you knew the songs, but I was just kind of like, there's no energy. It's hard to capture the energy of a rock band when they're playing 20 seconds of their hits and they're just coming in cold and leaving. You're not in that vibe. So it might've been that same concept for these guys to me. I was even sitting there going, well, who else did I like? A couple of years ago, Lady Gaga did the halftime show. I'm like, damn, she ripped through that place, and that's more dancing around and goofy stuff, but
that was
still
here.
Was great.
That was here in Houston. So if you remember, she was like standing, and of course it was kind of timed out, but she was standing on the roof,
right?
And she made it seem like she was rappelling off the roof, and it was choreographed. It was done really well. I thought Lady Gaga did a phenomenal job on her halftime show. And I don't sit around and listen to Lady Gaga.
No.
I think Katy Perry did a great job. Right. I think Katy Perry was better than Sunday's halftime show. But for me, you've got to get past YouTube. Now, this is, again, it's taking the critic out of me and going back to what I enjoyed the most. I was in the stands when U2 did that halftime show in the Superdome, and it was right after 9/11. And I think a lot of people, younger people, don't remember that time. I'll never forget that time period in our country. After 9/11, you figure that happened September, October, November, December, January, February. So we're 5 months removed from the worst attacks on American soil. And the patriotism, and everybody is still on the same team at that time.
Right.
And this was the biggest event since the attacks that was happening. Okay. Baseball resumed and all that stuff. But I mean, the big stuff. This was going to be the biggest thing. And there was, of course, that thinking in the back of your head that this was going to be another target, because we didn't know, I think we kind of had a great idea about Saddam Hussein, but we didn't know if he was going to launch another attack. And everybody in the back of their head, believe me, I was in the Superdome. I was thinking, boy, if you're going to really, get noticed for an attack, you're going to run a plane into the Superdome. But U2 coming out, the 2 big white sheets going up that symbolized the World Trade Center, the trade centers, and then they superimposed all the names of the people that died. So the names went up the sheets onto the roof of the Superdome, and then these names were passing over our bodies. They were almost on a loop.
Yeah.
And the names of the people were passing over our bodies, and there wasn't a dry eye in there. U2 is an Irish band, and I guess some people would say that, maybe there should have been Bruce Springsteen or something there. I don't think another band would have done it better. I think U2 is the hands down champion, followed by Prince. And then maybe, I went back to go look at Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is the spark of the modern day halftime show.
Right.
And it still was pretty freaking great in 93. It was pretty awesome.
Damn. Well, it's Michael Jackson too. I remember I was at the we went, my wife and I went to the Super Bowl that year in the Dome too. I remember there's like guys in machine guns all around the roof on the outside as you're going through security. It was wild. There's tanks, and we're like walking in and going, dude, I don't know, this is pretty wild. My wife's like, yeah, but U2's playing. I'm like, all right, we'll freaking sacrifice for you too. And oh, by the way, the game's going on too, you know. And I just remember sitting there, like you just said, man, the names, and we're sitting there watching you too, and we're just like, oh my God, this is really, really powerful stuff. I hope this is coming across on TV the way it's feeling here in the Dome. And then I'm looking at her, and she's looking at me, and the names, like you said, are coming across the top of us. I'm just like, whoa, this is heavy, man. This is really heavy. So I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen that performance on TV. I'm gonna have to look it up. But from being in the Dome, like you said, that was sick. That was just insane, you know.
I thought Sunday's performances were great. I did. I thought they were great. I understand why people loved it. I understand that, you know, people really connected, and it hit on nostalgia. And maybe there is something to that. They said that, you know, experts are saying that that's what we need right now. We need, you know, to be taken back, you know, to years ago and make ourselves feel good. And if it plugged into that, then fine. I thought it was a little premature. People were freaking out. The best halftime show ever.
Well, I always look, like you probably do the same thing. I always look at everything through two lenses, you know, because first of all, I come from the media background, and I study every song. I study every commercial. I mean, you should hear my wife and I talking about the commercials. We pause the TV. It's like, okay, well, what the hell were they thinking in this one? This was stupid. This was dumb. And we just attack every commercial. We have these long conversations about them. So it takes forever to watch the game, but it's awesome. So I always look at everything through two filters: the professional, like what were they thinking filter, and then, hey, did I just personally like it? You know, personally, I thought it was cool to see all these guys. I'm like, wow, Dre's been eating some $1 million cheeseburgers because he's a big dude now, man. It's like, didn't you know the Super Bowl was coming? Maybe back up from the table for a couple of months, bro. You're going to be on TV in front of 120 million people around the US. But from that standpoint, I didn't care. It didn't matter to me either way. I was like just indifferent to the whole thing. But watching it from the whole media standpoint, it was cool. I thought it was neat. They had the cars out there, the dancing, and the different artists coming out that they brought out. It was fine. Greatest, not even close in my mind, you know, from either way, filter that I look at it.
Going into the Super Bowl, we talked about probably things that most people talked about. Okay, do they bust out? Because you know they had to do the California song. And that, of course, is a Dre song with Tupac. And somewhere out there, there's somebody must have this. There's a Tupac hologram. Now, it didn't look that great, but they busted it out at Coachella about 10 years ago. You know, could they have done something like that? There's no way they were going to do a full-on NWA reunion. There was no way they were going to do that. But if there was going to be a special guest, I get it. I understand why they went with 50 Cent, because he's in that group. Okay. He's under the umbrella of Dre and Eminem. But I thought Ice Cube coming out would have been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's who I was picking as the special guest. It was either going to be him, or would they possibly try some sort of a hologram with Tupac? 50 Cent, that song is as big as ever right now on TikTok. There's TikTok videos using that song, and that song is huge. So it probably was the right decision to bring him on as the special, you know, unannounced guest.
You know, what's really funny is, like, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about wrestling, and now we're talking about rap. What have we done to this podcast?
I don't know.
Like, seriously, what have we done? You know, I was watching the, you know, as far as the game goes, I just felt bad for Cincinnati, because LA, there's no, like, nobody's from LA out there. Nobody gives a shit about that team. They won, yay. But that crowd was just there to be seen. You know, the Super Bowl was weird. They win. They tried to have a parade today, and apparently there wasn't that many people at the parade. Nobody gave a shit because there's no passion for the team. Think about, like, you know, Cincinnati had a huge crowd at their airport when the team came back the other night after their loss, and supporting the team, because Cincinnati is ingrained in that community. You know, think about Buffalo, same thing. Houston, Green Bay, you know, New Orleans. Oh my gosh, you know, LA wins and everyone's like, okay, cool. Doesn't matter. I live in LA. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? It just
so many
like
transplants there. There's so many transplants that
It's just
The
weird.
ratings were, it wasn't even a top 10 local market in the ratings. So the biggest local market that watched the Super Bowl, because I think 113 million people watched the game.
Yeah.
The biggest local market was in Cincinnati. That means everybody watched it in Cincinnati, and that would have happened in smaller cities.
Right.
LA wasn't a top 10 market for watching the Super Bowl. Now, you can't say, well, they were all at the game. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. LA was not in the top 10 of watching their own team in the Super Bowl.
Nobody gave a shit, man, out there.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of the, like, I'm happy for the guys who put all the work in over the years and you win. It was cool to see Matt Stafford get it. But at the end of the day, you're like, nobody out there gives a shit, man. It's a shame. It really is a shame. It's wasted. It really is a wasted Super Bowl.
Question for you. So when Eminem was out there, Anderson .Paak is this guy who's pretty famous. He's the drummer. So I know he was playing drums. Was Trombone Shorty, was that him?
You know, when they first showed, they had the guy on the tuba, right?
Yeah.
You know, the hernia horn, as they call it here in New Orleans. And it looked like Ben Jaffe, who's the guy from Preservation Hall. He's got the big hair. And it looked like Shorty standing next to him. And me and my wife were like, what the and it wasn't them. It just happened to be two guys who looked similar to Shorty and Ben Jaffe from the Preservation Hall band. So yeah, at first I was like, whoa, no way. This is the best surprise of the night. And then it wasn't them. Just two random dudes. So yeah.
Yes or no? Just looking ahead. And I know that the world doesn't care about rock, but are the Foo Fighters on a level right now? They're big enough, but do people that put together the Super Bowl halftime show think that everybody wants to see a rock band, or are they going to keep it pop for now? Will the Foo Fighters get offered to do the halftime show? And they're the only other, I mean, Metallica's the only other band. Okay. Aerosmith did it years ago. The Eagles aren't together. There's no more Beach Boys. So, I mean, those are your two bands. Really. I get it. I get it. Everybody wants a Pantera reunion. It's not happening. Metallica is big enough, but I don't think it's middle America enough. I think it's a little abrasive. But the Foo Fighters, yes or no?
Foo Fighters could totally do it, but will they? I would be weird. I don't think they would, because they know that you're trying to get eyes on game. Okay. Think of it that way. Okay. I've seen so many people, oh, AC/DC should play. Nah, it's not going to happen. They're never going to play. They're too old. That doesn't matter. Anybody over that way, you know, they're too old. This whole Super Bowl was right down the barrel of Gen X. The spots during the commercials during the game, all Gen X. It was all Gen X. I was like sitting there going, this is fucking weird. Like it's like they're in my living room going, what did you used to watch? Oh yeah, Austin Powers. It was directed right at us like a cannon, man. It was wild. First time I would ever realize that. But yeah, Foo Fighters, should they play? Absolutely. They're fairly universally known and loved at this point. Will it happen? No, it'll be Taylor Swift next year, or you know, somebody like that, I'm sure. I just don't see it happening. I don't. And it's a shame, because they should, you know. But you're going back to my point, eyes on the game. The NFL and the TV execs want eyeballs. Is the Foo Fighters going to bring any different eyeballs to that game, that TV show? The Super Bowl is a TV show. They're not, because you got the dudes, you got us already watching the game. You bring in, you know, Missy Elliott or who was in? We just talked about it. Was
Mary J. Blige?
Mary J. Blige, great. And you know, Dr. Dre, that's going to bring in a little bit of a different audience. I suck at this. And but Foo Fighters don't bring in any different eyeballs, I don't believe, than your normal football fans. So they're always looking. That's why Katy Perry, that's why Lady Gaga, that's why J-Lo, Shakira, those all are doing your halftime shows. It's bringing in eyeballs.
And the ratings were up. The ratings overall. We just talked about how shitty the ratings were in Los Angeles. The ratings were up for the Super Bowl. Now, you know, is Dr. Dre and Snoop going to take credit for that? Of course they are. But I think the level of games going into it, you said it yourself last week, that you watched so much football during the playoffs, the most you've watched in a long time. The games were so great that I think people had such renewed interest, and they were just, the games have been so great. Everyone's been loving football again. Not that they weren't, but just the fever for football was at an all-time high. The last 3 weeks were amazing. I mean, even I'm saying it, and my team lost, but it was amazing football to watch. So I think that had a lot to do with it. But of course, Dr. Dre is going to say, hey, look, you made the right call by letting us do it. Look, we brought you the ratings.
But you could, when again, we're getting in the weeds here a little bit, but it's a TV show. At the end of the day, it's a TV show. What the outcome of the game, nobody gives a shit as far as an NFL or the TV execs. What they care about is eyes on that show. And they can break it down by minutes. So they can just look at the graph. And if at halftime it spikes, well, then Dr. Dre definitely gets the credit. I don't have access to that info, but that's why you put such a different halftime show on. All the guys that, where's AC/DC? Why did Judas Priest play? Where's this guy? They don't bring anybody different to the party. You got the same guy. So it's not going to happen. That's why the Foo Fighters, I hope to God, and they should have already played in my mind, and I want them to play.
All right, dude. Well, Mardi Gras, I'm going down to Galveston this weekend, and Galveston does it up pretty good. I know for sure it's the largest Mardi Gras celebration in the state of Texas, so that is a done deal. I know you got Mobile, Alabama, and you got a couple of other places. Everybody kind of fights for number 2. Everybody knows New Orleans is number 1. Who's got the second best Mardi Gras celebration? I would put what happens in Galveston against anywhere else in the country. It's going to be pretty fun. I talked to Brad from Three Doors Down. They're going to be playing live on stage. So it's totally different. It's a completely different, concentrated, very condensed area where we are. You buy tickets to get into the party area. New Orleans, Mardi Gras for free. All of that stuff, you got to kind of just, hey, it's different, okay? Yeah. The island needs money. And it's a huge moneymaker. It's one of the things that keeps the island going for the whole year. But I really look forward to it. It's always a great warm-up because I'm going to be joining you at Mardi Gras next weekend in New Orleans. But I'll be down in Galveston. What's your parade schedule look like this weekend for you in New Orleans?
We always call this the pre-weekend or the warm-up weekend or the first weekend, because you got Fat Tuesday, which is it's Mardi Gras, but then you've got the weekend leading up to that, and then this weekend the parades really start firing up. The real parades down St. Charles Avenue. Friday night there's like 3 parades. Saturday is one of my favorite days ever because they do like 3 or 4 parades in the early afternoon. There's like a 2-hour break, and they kick into like 3 more parades at night. So Saturday is like one of my favorite days because it's so long and it's busted up. So you can go chill out for a little while, recharge a little bit, and then hit the streets again. So it just turns into a long street party all day. So that's Saturday. And then Sunday, there's like 3 or 4 parades, but they're massive. They're huge parades. So Saturday and Sunday, I know me and the family are going to be up on the avenue, St. Charles Avenue, and just all day, all night, and just enjoying it and catching tons of shit from the floats and the marching bands. And it's going to be weird because it's been a couple of years now. We skipped 1 Mardi Gras, but it's been 2 years since we've had Mardi Gras, Yeah. It's been a long ass time. So it's just like, we're looking at each other like, this is going to be awesome. I think, I hope it's going to be great. Right. So we're all kind of like, I can't wait, So yeah, this weekend's going to be jamming. It's going to be rocking. And then of course, Sunday, then no parades Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night we start firing up the parades again, and then Thursday gets huge, Friday's huge, and then Saturday Tux, right, Pirate Ship, and then Sunday's Bacchus, and Monday, and then Fat Tuesday. So I mean, once we hit Friday, man, you're pretty much, that's it. You're smoked for a week and a half or 10 days.
I know we talked about it in past podcast, but Jason and I, we used to broadcast from Bourbon Street all day. I think were we on till midnight?
See, here's how, and anyone listening to this podcast who's listened to the old episodes is going to go, yeah, of course that's what you two morons did. Like you would do, I was on first. I think I did like 3 or 4 hours, and then you'd come on after me. So what did I do? I stayed because I'm on Bourbon Street and we're at the Budweiser balcony. So they're like, the first year, they're like, okay, here's the deal. Here's what you guys got to do. You got to go and you got to broadcast on the balcony and just kind of give the flavor of Mardi Gras. And I'm like, okay, that should be easy. And if you're thirsty, this whole room up here is for you. There's Budweiser. You can drink as much as you can possibly stomach, and there's food and it's everything. And I'm like, yeah, you're doing that to you, Rod, and to me. They're giving us this. And I remember us looking at each other like, you got to be fucking crazy.
And I know that I was on the air from 3 to 7.
So I was doing like that 10 to 3 slot or whatever it was.
Correct. Now, So we passed it off, and I think it was probably Nick at night, right? Did he broadcast 7 until midnight?
I don't know, because I feel like we were out there all the damn time. I don't think it.
Oh, no, we were out there. There's no doubt we were there. We were jumping on mic with him all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just, because anyways, it's so blurry, but it was so much fun broadcasting down there. I'm sure they were the world's shittiest broadcast. We didn't really save everything. You know how, like, now everything on my show is podcasted, it's replayed, it's kind of out there forever. And it didn't work like that back then. Thank God, because I wouldn't have a job. But
No,
it just, I'm sure the broadcasts were terrible. To go back and listen to them, I never went back and air checked. I never went back to listen to what we did, how we sounded. They had to be just god awful, but it didn't matter. It was so much fun, and it added to the legend of what our radio station was. I know that technically they were horrible sounding broadcasts, but we were at the party. People knew that we were actually living it. We were doing it, and we were getting sloppy along with the rest of the world, or at least along with the rest of the city. We were getting sloppy and shitty and drunk right along with them. And that's, I think, what people appreciated.
Yeah. But I mean, I just remember, like, I could have gone home. I could have went home at 3:00. Okay, Rod, your turn. Bye. See, I'm going home. No, hung out with you, drinking, hanging out. You got a balcony on Bourbon Street. Why would you ever leave it? You should never give up that spot. You never give up that opportunity. And we had a lot of horrible fun up there. I do remember a lot of different things going on up there. And I actually broadcast from the balcony, many different balconies over the years on Bourbon Street. And thank God I don't anymore, because it's just too much. It really, I know it sounds terrible to say, it's too much. For a couple of years, I was broadcasting from a balcony from a nudie bar.
You were on Temptation's balcony, right?
Yeah, that's right next to Rick's. And I'm on a balcony at a titty club, which sounds like the best place on earth. And yeah, it is. But you're in a titty club at 10 o'clock in the morning. You know what those places smell like at 10 o'clock in the morning? They're not good. And the girls that work those at 10 a.m. during Mardi Gras, they're not in the best of shape. And I don't mean physically. I mean, they've been working hard and they're worn out, man. They're worn out. And they're like, hey, you look a little tired. Do you need some pills? And they open their purses and it's just a pharmacy. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll be okay. I'm gonna drink some water here in a soda. So yeah, no, I took off years of my life broadcasting from Bourbon Street over the years.
Well, Galveston's always a nice little way for me to prime the pump a little bit. So I'll be getting primed up this weekend and then heading to see you next weekend.
Can't wait.
We're going to take a break. There's a birthday coming up. So this podcast is being recorded on Wednesday night. So Thursday, February 17th, Billy Joe Armstrong, 51 years old, Jason Ginty.
Whew, he's older than me. That feels good, man. I don't know how you feel about it, because you're 4 or 5 years older than him.
Shut up.
2
years older than him.
Oh, okay. Wow. We were talking before we started, and I'm like, he's 50? Wait, he's turning 50? Oh, Christ. I'm older than Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. This just wrecked my night. And then I did some math. I went, no, he's 51. He's turning 51 tomorrow. So I was like, whoo-hoo. Felt better about my life right there. That's a dude dropping tens.
So we're going to do a top five favorite, according to you, according to me, top 5 favorite Green Day songs coming up.
Yeah. And that's going to be weird because, and we can talk about this after the break, but Green Day is a weird band for a lot of people. Like, I've always liked Green Day. I loved them from the get-go, and I've always been a fan for a lot of different reasons. But there's people like, fuck Green Day. What are they doing in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, man? Those guys aren't real punks. And you get into that whole bullshit.
Who says that? Who says that Green Day doesn't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Tell them they're a douchebag.
Dummies say shit like that, Rod. We can talk about it after the break here. I know you got a very important message from one of our our sponsor.
One of our sponsors?
I got excited.
Our only sponsor.
I know. It's terrible.
Hey, guys, we just got done talking about New Orleans. It's a great time to be in New Orleans right now. But even in the off season, meaning, when Jazz Fest isn't going on or when, Mardi Gras is not going on, anytime is a great time to be in New Orleans. Be sure to book the Pirates of the Quarter walking tour. Super fun. I've been on it. Loaded with information. There is no other tour like it in the French Quarter. I know you've heard of tours in New Orleans, but this one, I'm telling you, you're going to have a great time. It's a couple of hours. You're walking around. You're still partying. You're drinking. The Pirates are showing you around, and they're showing you real history, things that really happened. It's amazing. The pirate activity that very few of us know, at least before we take the tour, of what really went down in the French Quarter. So there's no other tour like it. So grab a drink. You're walking the streets in the French Quarter while hearing these amazing stories of real pirates and their involvement in the history of New Orleans. And it really did shape the way New Orleans is. So this tour is it's going to surprise you. There's so much more to New Orleans than just Bourbon Street, and you will learn, but you will have a good time, and it'll just, all this knowledge will kind of sneak up on you. So save a little time, discover the pirates of the history, or the pirate history in New Orleans. Details at Pirates of the Quarter, piratesofthequarter.com, wherever you're checking out this podcast. I'm sure we got a link up to it. Yep. But yeah, if you're going to go to New Orleans, it's a great thing. It's a great thing to add to your trip. You don't want to just wake up and then just kind of wing it all day, which you'll have a good time in New Orleans doing that. But book a tour like the Pirates of the Quarter tour. I think you'll really, really enjoy it.
You know, Rod, we're going to talk about the Green Day thing in a quick second, but I put together a little quiz for after the Green Day thing that we'll talk about in a second.
Oh shit!
We've got, and it's not really a quiz. It's more of a, it's a guessing game basically, because while we do have Billie Joe Armstrong's birthday coming up tomorrow, turning 51, we would have had Kurt Cobain's birthday, and we would have had Bon Scott. He actually passed away on February 19th, 1980. So you threw out the question, who's the greatest dead rock star? And I took it and I put it into a little quiz for you that is going to be very difficult for a lot of reasons. It's going to get us talking. I know that. And this might be a to be continued, a second parter down the road, because it could be pretty wild.
And I didn't know. I was kind of even toying with like a top 5 with this, like the best, dead rock star. But then you got to qualify it, because if they live a good long life, is Tom Petty like the best dead rock star? Well, I mean, he's one of the greatest rock stars of all time, but, I'm sure everybody wanted him around a little longer. There really is something about rock stars that went too soon. It's almost like you got to qualify it, like dead rock stars gone before their time type of thing, That's what I was thinking. Just because of Bon Scott and
Kurt
and the Kurt Cobain thing that you brought up to me.
So we'll do that after the Green Day stuff. But Billie Joe Armstrong turning 51 on the 17th, and people. Green Day's a weird band. Not everybody loves them. I've found out that not everybody loves them, and I love them. When Dookie came out, that came out in what was that? 95. We got that. We started playing that in Buffalo, right?
No, it's got to be before that. It's 94.
Is it 94? I should have looked it up. Who's the guy doing the research for this podcast?
February 1st, 1994, because I'm playing it in college. Okay, I think you had already dusted me, and I'm playing this band, Green Day, and then we got internships going on, and the rock station at the time that became later on the alternative station was playing it, and it was just a different sounding song. I just remember absolutely loving that album when it came out, and it was just everywhere when it hit. That's one of those albums that's got 5 singles on it, right?
Yeah, it was 5 singles.
3, 4, 5.
When they released She, which was the final single, which is actually a pretty damn good song, everyone's kind of like burnt on it. It was like, guys, you've been all over MTV for a year and a half. You've been on, all your songs have been all over the radio for so long. People were burnt out, and the record company's like, okay, no more singles off of the Dookie album, because we just burnt the shit out of Green Day. I think that may be why people kind of have a bad taste in their mouth with Green Day, because it was so oversaturated.
You're right, but 5 worthy singles though.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
I mean, Third Eye Blind had that album that had 5 songs on it. Michael Jackson had 5 singles. Alanis Morissette probably had 5 singles. There's only a handful. There's only a couple of bands that put out 5 singles. I mean, It's different now because every song Drake puts out, it's a single. I mean, Drake, he puts out a song and then boom, it's the #1 song in the world. But pulling songs off of an album and that whole cycle of how it used to work, it's an amazing thing. And it's the reason why it sold 10 million copies here and probably 30 million copies worldwide. I mean, Dookie is unbelievable. I only went to Dookie once. for my top 5.
Yeah, I think I did too. What's interesting about the album is you think about the time frame, okay? Kurt Cobain is dead, okay? So the grunge thing, basically Kurt Cobain dies, grunge kind of falls apart after that. I mean, sure, Pearl Jam went on, Alice in Chains went on, but that was kind of, if you're going to look at it on a timeline, Kurt's dead. And then think about the time period. Green Day comes out, The Offspring came out, you had Weezer that came out, so that you had a little bit of a shifting of the gears. The sound started to change a little bit because we had these bands out now.
Sure.
And the interesting thing with Green Day is when they brought the album, when they were finished with the album to the record label, they listened to it and they're like, what, why does it sound like this? What's going on? Why does it sound so weird? Green Day didn't put any like reverb or any echo on any of the songs. It was very dry and very clean. There's no extra sauce on it. When you hear like Alice in Chains, that's just loaded. It sounds like they're in a cave. If you listen to the songs, all the grunge stuff was a lot of reverb put on those albums. The record label said, y'all got to go put some damn reverb on here. And Green Day's like, no, we're not going to do that. And it cut through. It sounded different. They wanted to sound different than the grunge. And it obviously worked for them. It's one of those deals where you had to fight a little bit with the record company. Top 5 favorite Green Day songs. They went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Rod, in 2015. I remember watching the ceremony and almost crying. I almost freaking shed a tear. I was so happy for Green Day going into the Rock and Roll.
I didn't know that you had that kind of connection with them. I mean, I like them, but they've just been around. They're kind of like they're the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They've just been around.
Right. But I've had these weird run-ins with Green Day over the years, and I'm sure you've interviewed these guys before. But there was a Saturday. I'm doing a Saturday show at the end here in New Orleans, and the program director said, "Hey, Green Day's going to stop by," and it's like, on a Saturday, really? You got to interview him? I'm like, okay, sure. So there's nobody in the radio station, so I'm watching the shitty cameras, and the manager's down there banging on the door. So I run down here. I open the door. I said, "Just leave this door open, and when the band's ready, just come on upstairs and come into the studio." So I go down. I do all that. I'm in the studio. I'm playing a song. Pretty soon, that fucking door, and those doors were heavy on that studio. Somebody kicks that shit in. The door goes slamming open. Fucking Billy Joe Armstrong, Trey Cool, and Mike Dirnt come walking in. They all got beers in their hands, and they're like, "All right, let's do this." Like, they were fired up. They were probably drunk from the night before.
They were living the lifestyle. They were great. They were great punk ambassadors. I mean, when they first started, I know they had a huge, they crossed over to CHR, and so many of their songs got carried on pop radio, but they really, and even Billy Joel, I mean, it's almost embarrassing. He was kind of carrying a little bit of an English accent back then, which was kind of, it's cringy right now to think about,
right?
But he had the crooked teeth. They looked the part. They were really kind of bringing punk back.
Yeah, and it was great. And they walk in with the beers, and they're like throwing the empties. They're drinking them. And I pulled the CD out, and I went, I don't care what song I'm playing right now. I'm cutting it off. And Green Day's here, and I went right on the air like that. And I just started talking to them, and they're drinking beers. They're popping beers for me in the studio. They're throwing the bottles all over the room. I'm like, this is the fucking coolest thing ever, man. This is so freaking cool, right? And the interview was probably terrible, but I didn't give a shit. Again, I'm in the moment, and it's just, you hear beer bottles clanging. And
where were they playing? I mean, I'm thinking of the room at that level. I mean, were they beyond Howlin' Wolf? Were they House of Blues?
They were playing, I believe it was either the State Palace Theater or the Sanger. I think it was the State Palace.
Yeah. Okay.
And so we do the interview, and then they walked around, they picked up the bottles. They put them on the counter. I'm like, you guys didn't have to do that. Like, they picked up the bottles that they were throwing. I'm like, okay, how punk is that, right? And then they're like, "Hey, man, you coming to the show tonight?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'm coming. It's Green Day." And they're like, "Well, hey, when we're done, when the show's over, everybody starts walking out. Stay in your seats and just chill out." I go, "Okay." And you bringing people? I'm like, "Yeah, have them stay too." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So we fucking watched the show, and Green Day live is an experience. They're so great. Show's over.
Tight. I mean, they're it's 3 chords, but they're tight though. They're not sloppy.
Nope.
They really are like a unit.
Yeah, and it's such an amazing show, and it's me and some friends. I don't know who the hell's with me, but the show's over. Lights come on. Most people are gone. I'm fucking chilling. I said, "Just stay." The guys in the band said to stay. And when you say that, you just feel like a douche because it's never going to happen.
Right.
Fucking 20 minutes later, they come walking out from the side. Everyone's gone. basically everyone is going out of the arena there, out of the theater. They jump off the stage, they walk over. Jason, what's happening, dude? They sit down and we're fucking hanging out with my friends and we're talking to Green Day. And then like,
that's cool
for 10 minutes. And then they're like, oh, dude, thanks for the interview today, man. Sold out the show. Everything was great. Hope to see you next time through. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And they took off. I'm like, whoa. So they played Voodoo years later, like, I don't know, 10 years. I was like 2004, 2005. My wife's with me and we were broadcasting, of course. And someone said, hey, man, you got to go backstage and interview Green Day. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. No way. Awesome. So I go back there. And because of the beer incident in the studio, they brought beers for me. So I grabbed a bunch of beers, brought them with me to the interview. Now, they got tons of shit backstage, so it didn't really matter. But I did it as a gesture. So I didn't get to, Billy Joe didn't come out for whatever at this point. He must be a little bit bigger. So he didn't want to talk to the goofy DJ from New Orleans. But Trey Cool and Mike Dirnt came out and they were fucking cool again, man. They're like, hey, what's up, dude? I'm like, hey, you guys probably don't remember me, but you came into the studio years ago and you were throwing beer bottles around the studio and you offered me beers and shit. I said, well, this time you ain't got to throw beers around. And I start busting out beers out of a cooler. I go, here. And my now wife, my girlfriend at the time, is sitting there holding the beers. And I'm like, she's just got eyes as big as a fucking basketballs watching this whole thing go down. And Trey Cool goes, yeah. We remember that, man. We were fucking throwing beer bottles all over your studio. It was awesome. And I said, here's some beers. And they're like, nah, dude, we're tequila guys now. And they're fucking sipping tequila backstage.
Oh, nice.
I go, okay. So I have this weird connection with Green Day over the years. So it's why I think I liked them so much. And I had these great opportunities. And that's why, I just like them. And then my kid's born. And I don't start cranking fucking Metallica when he's 2. You know what I mean? Like I kind of bring him along slowly with some shit. He starts hearing Green Day and and I don't push it on him. I push no music on my son. I just introduce and I play it. I don't say shit about it until he asks. And then of course I can give him the encyclopedia, right? I start playing some Green Day and he's like, whoa, I love this song. And then he's into the Green Day. And then my wife.
How old is he when he says that he reacts to it?
He's probably 7 or 8. Okay. Yeah, there's quite a few. He's 13 now, so it's a few years ago, and he's into it. He loves fucking Green Day, and now he's a huge Green Day fan, and he hasn't seen them live yet. So hopefully they'll go out, this summer, and finally get to take the boy to see Green Day because he'll lose his mind.
Did the Hella Mega Tour come to New Orleans?
No, they only hit the big cities on that run. I know they did Houston, Dallas, all that shit. We were trying to figure out a way to get over there, but the date was weird for some reason.
Dude, yeah, it was during the week. Yeah. It was definitely during the week because I had to get up the next day. But seeing them live, it was cool. I like, there's 2 different ways to look at it. Hella Mega Tour they played Minute Maid Park. It sounds like shit in there, but it's cool being in the baseball stadium, for a concert. I kind of like being somewhere else, seeing a show. Now, if you're a purist and you're there and you just want to hear your favorite bands and you want it to sound amazing, well, then maybe you didn't have a great experience because I thought it sounded a little shitty. Right. But seeing them along with Weezer and Fall Out Boy, I mean, it was it was awesome. I mean, it was all 3 bands were fucking awesome. They were great. I didn't get in to see, I don't know, I forgot it was the Replacements, or not the Replacements, but not the Descendants. Somebody's going to kill me for this. I didn't see the opener, but I did see the 3 bands, and Green Day closed. And they close with, Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. And I get it. That's the song. But I hate, for the same reason why I fucking hated Van Halen going out with 1984.
Yep.
Fuck you. Okay, that song sucks. Don't let me walk out after hearing 1984 or, Jump.
Right. I don't hear it.
I want a rocker. I want my face melted off one final time. And here's me telling a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band, 2 of them, what to do and, how to do a set list. Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. I guess if that song really means something to you and you're sitting there with your lighter or your cell phone light out now and you're singing every word, for me, that's not how I want my band to go out. I just don't.
I used to get nervous. When you see the Foo Fighters, a lot of times they'll close with Everlong, and he'll start out sometimes doing it real slow and acoustic, or real dreary.
And he's gonna rock the shit out of it by the time he's done.
better beat the shit out of this at the end, brother. And he does. I mean, thank God he does, because that would suck if he just played it slow the whole time. I'd be like, okay, well, that's great. Now I got to walk out of here. I want to come out with my ear drums shredded. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the concert, like you. I want to come out there ringing. I'm like, what the fuck just happened, man? Yeah, don't be closing in a downer, man. And Van Halen would, every time I saw him in the later years with Roth, it was fucking jump every time. I'm like, guys, you know you got the same guys coming to see your show all the time. Change it up.
I mean, AC/DC, for those about to rock, the fucking cannons,
okay,
loudest thing you're ever going to hear, and then boom, curtain, holy shit.
Yeah, that
the
one
cannons, you know what I mean? 21 gun salute for those about to rock. You're just like, ah, that's how I want to go out. I want everything to be for those about to rock. We salute you. And that was my only letdown with Green Day. I brought that up on the air. People were not agreeing with me at all. They're like, no, they love that fucking song. That to me is the song at the end of the Seinfeld era. It's that song was used that's how Seinfeld went off the air.
Right.
The last episode, they went off with that. And I get it. It's the times. It was right thing to do at that time, but it stuck with me. And I like Seinfeld. I loved Seinfeld. It's just, it wasn't very punk, you know?
No, it was, well, it's their biggest hit too. I mean, that's the one that not
their biggest hit. Well, not their biggest hit.
As far as crossover though, I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think so. I've got their biggest hit on my top 5.
Why don't you go first? I want to hear what you got. I want to hear what you got.
Okay.
Your top 5 favorite Green Day songs. It's not easy.
We talked about when we did the Ozzy list, and do you keep do you keep Crazy Train off the list because you're sick of it? You know, the Stairway to Heaven, keep off of a list because you're sick of it on a Led Zeppelin list. We do play a lot of Green Day at my radio station, so I'm around it all the time. So I did try to take into consideration, hey, if that's a great song, it's a great song. So I wanted to keep that stuff in there. In at number 5 was a song from now, I guess, 2 years ago, but the father of all mother effers.
Oh, I love that song.
And it's the title track, and it didn't sound like Green Day. So you're like, Rod, your favorite Green Day song doesn't sound anything like Green Day. His voice was kind of a falsetto. It was kind of a glammy, kind of a rock, kind of a punk with an Elvis style video.
Yep.
I love the song. I love the tempo of the song. If you remember the drums, it sounds like it sounds like Jimi Hendrix, you know. Father of all motherfuckers. It's so garage and glam and everything at the same time. I loved it. I just thought the fact that it sounded so different, I had to put something new on there on my list. So that's in at number 5. In at number 4, American Idiot was the album that they were kind of slowing down for a little bit. And then American Idiot came out, and then boom, they were back to being just huge. For me, American Idiot, that album, Holiday. I love the song Holiday. I've got that in at number 4. It's just hard because we've played every one of their songs a million times. The father of all mother effers, we didn't play that much, but we did play it a little bit. We didn't play it enough for me to get sick of it. So number 4 is Holiday. Number 3, from the 21st Century Breakdown, 21 Guns.
Great song.
21 Guns, to see that song performed live is just amazing. I like the song, but it is next level live. It's amazing. And I don't think his voice has ever sounded better on that particular song. I know there's other ballady type things, but I don't think his voice has never sounded more clean than it's been on 21 Guns. That's my number 3.
Wow.
My number 2, I told you I was going to put one song in there from Dookie. Dookie, 5 singles. Longview was the first one. Welcome to Paradise, Basket Case, When I Come Around, and then, like you said, She. The best song on Dookie is Basket Case.
Yeah.
It's hard because the first song, my introduction to the band, and let's make sure that before somebody jumps on us, we know that Dookie is the band's third album, but that's their major label release. My first introduction to them is Longview, working at the college radio station, and then it turning up on my favorite radio station that we were working part-time at. And I remember being in love with that song. And unfortunately, I think just over time, it's eroded for me. And now when I look at my favorite song off of Dookie, I think Basket Case, I just don't know that I'll ever get sick of that song. I think that's, to me, early Green Day, that is the quintessential song. And number one, which I think is their biggest song, Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Oh, yeah.
I think that might be their biggest song. Damn, maybe with all the attachments to what's happened with Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, but Boulevard of Broken Dreams may have been, I didn't even go look up like YouTube numbers or anything like that, but Green Day's a band that has, they have 10 songs that have 300 million views on YouTube. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to look up, when you're talking, I'm going to look up Boulevard of Broken Dreams, because I just wonder how many that has.
The thing about, go ahead.
There's one song on there that I'm thinking that you might have on your list, and it never appeared on a Green Day album, and we didn't talk about rules for this, but there's a special song of theirs that you might bring up.
Probably not. I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Really?
What song? Yeah. What song is it?
So after Hurricane Katrina and they open up the Superdome.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Green Day plays with U2. And again, if you just said your favorite Green Day songs, it's kind of them and U2. I guess if you put it on your list, and I thought it was going to be on your list, there's a song called The Saints Are Coming. And it's not the New Orleans song that you're thinking of. It's an old song. It's an old like punk. I think it's an Irish song. And they did this song with U2, and the video and everything of the opening of the Superdome, and it's after Katrina and capturing the emotion. That's when I knew that Green Day was huge. I already knew that U2 was huge, but Green Day, I thought maybe was a little out of their league being on stage with them, opening up the Superdome. And then when they did that song, The Saints Are Coming, I had a whole new love of Green Day after that. I'm sure you did too. If I remember correctly, you're at that game, right?
I was not at the game when that Monday night, that opening of the Superdome or whatever it was.
When Steve Gleason blocks the punt and all of that stuff.
The whole thing was huge. And I remember like the same thing, like, what the fuck is Green Day doing out here? I'm like, why is Green Day with U2? That's weird.
I didn't think they were big enough at the time. I'm like, okay, U2. Yeah, U2. The city's coming back. Okay, fine. I'm down with this. Green Day, do they belong on a stage with U2? Fucking right they do. This song and this video, we're gonna have to put it up on our socials. The video for it is amazing.
It's such a great song, but you know what? I kind of forget about it because it's like it's part of your DNA now because they play it 20 times at every Saints game. It's just there for me.
Okay, so see, I never get to hear it.
It's just washed away. I'm like, okay, we get it. The Saints are coming. We got it. Okay, we're good. We got it. But I think it's just because it's so ingrained in your skull in New Orleans now. It's almost like it's constant. It's great. And the live version is cool because what happened is I believe it's Rebirth brass band is playing with them in the dome. And Bono from U2 gives him a shout out when he's doing all the shout outs to everybody. He brings out Rebirth and all this stuff. So it's part of the rebirth of the city after Katrina, but it's also the name of the band. The brass band is playing in the background. So
I thought 100% you were going to have that song in your top 5.
No, not even close. No, it's one of those ones I can't just,
I never get to hear it. So I should have put it in my top 5. I thought about it after I'm doing this list and I'm like, well, does that really count? It was kind of a special collaboration, but it's a great song though. Jason, your top 5 favorite Green Day songs.
Man, I'll tell you what, I gotta go back and I'm gonna be cranking Green Day for the next couple of days again, man. This is what's so great about these lists. Number 5, this song has got just a cool groove to it. I think it's on, they did these 3 albums, Uno, Do, and Trey. And I think this was on the Uno, but don't hold me to that. It's called Someone Kill the DJ. And it's not a joke. Haha, don't do that actually. Someone Kill the DJ was a song. It was never a huge hit, but it's got this cool dance groove to it. and he's going on about just kill the fucking DJ. And it's just funny. It's funny and it's got a great groove.
I remember those albums, and if we played anything, it was off of Uno. Dos and Trey.
Yeah, nobody
I
cared.
don't remember playing anything off of those, so I'm thinking that it probably is off of Uno.
Yeah, someone kill the DJ. It's just again, Green Day. You know, everyone's used to the Dookie songs where it's just the punk and stuff and the three chords, like you said. But someone kill the DJ has got a bit of a swagger to it and stuff. And then you said Father of All Mother Effers. That's got a different sound. So this kind of falls into that world where it's not.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those albums were different. Those albums were, I mean, they weren't successful. I would have to go. I don't even know if I have them, to be honest with you, but I bet you could probably mine some gems out of them.
I'm sure there's great songs there. I just never took the time to listen to them. That was number 5. Number 4, and I love the entire, and I forgot, damn it, I got to go back and listen to this again now. The entire album, the American Idiot album, was great. Okay, there's a whole rock opera thing they did, and they took a lot of shit. Oh, you guys doing a rock opera? It fucking worked out just fine for them because it ended up being a play and all that stuff on Broadway for a little while. There's a song, and it's like 3 or 4 songs all put together. It's called Jesus of Suburbia. It's the second track on the American Idiot album.
That's that 15-minute song?
It's fucking great. It was their attempt at trying to do kind of like a modern day Bohemian Rhapsody from Queen. And they even said they really wanted to they were either going to do it or they were going to fucking fail. Go listen to the song. It's awesome. It's
long.
Awesome.
That's why it never got any airplay because it's way too long. But I remember it being a pretty great song.
It's so great. It takes you through the story and it winds around. There's a lot of different musical changes in it. That's at number 4. Number 3, there's a song you may have heard of. It's called Father of All. That's my number 3 song.
You got that in there.
Yeah, that song is so great. I forgot about it. And here's what's great about this. And this is why I love Green Day for just yet another reason. They got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2015. Father of All was released in 2019. Think about that. They were already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. A lot of bands, you get thrown in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you're not putting out anything after that point that is worth a shit. And I realize they put a lot of old people in there now, but you know, a lot of bands aren't still relevant. Green Day, still relevant, still putting out bangers like Father of All after being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That song is so great.
Such a great fucking song. Number 2, the title track, American Idiot. I love that song. It just comes out with that guitar and it just rips. And it's got statements in it and it's just badass. Great song. A lot of energy there. And number 1, for me, I don't necessarily crank this up at the house because I hear it on the radio. We play it. It's played all the time. Is Longview from Dookie. That's my favorite one. Here's why. It's a great song. I remember hearing it at the college radio station. I remember hearing it in Buffalo when we were interning. And I just remember like, oh, this is such a great song. It's so different sounding than everything else on the radio right now. And then I remember talking to our friend who just passed away recently, Chris Prospero, Max Volume. He did Overnights. And he goes, God, this song is so fucking great. I can't believe we're playing it. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, they're singing about jerking off. Can't you hear the lyrics, you moron? And I'm like, I never really paid attention to them. And it's bite my lip, close my eyes, take me away to paradise. And I'm like, oh, holy shit, that's exactly what they're singing about. They've got a song on the radio singing about jerking off. This is so great. And it made me love the song even more that they got away with it.
Yeah. That was my introduction to the band. That's what got me into the party. And I took a long look at it. And then when it all comes down to it, I just think Basket Case is a better song.
Yeah.
I do. And I love Longview. While you were yakking, so Green Day, and these are, of course, just the official music videos. And this doesn't mean shit, but it is YouTube. 79 million views, Green Day, Good Riddance, the official video.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Boulevard of Broken Dreams, 601 million views.
Jesus Christ. It is a great song.
It's amazing. It really is amazing. And I guess we don't play that one quite as much, but if there was something, again, they go out with Good Riddance, but Boulevard of Broken Dreams is probably their biggest song.
Maybe you should start playing it more. You talk to the boss, dude. What the hell?
Yeah.
600 million views. Get him on the phone. Let's work this out. Hell, we should be playing
what just missed on your list? I always like to hear I like to hear your number 6 and 7 usually.
I put Time of Your Life on there because it was such a that was a risk. Think about it, man. They had Dookie comes out and it's all bangers, and then they come out with Nimrod and they throw that acoustic song on there. That was a risk, and that's punk, dude. That's punk. And yeah, they get shit for, oh, it's a crossover. It's on top 40. My girlfriend likes it, man. They played it at the prom. Whatever. They had to have the balls to do it. I remember Billy Joe Armstrong saying in interviews that they just decided one night to go out and play it live, and he fully expected to just get beer bottles thrown at him and probably come home bloody, and everyone just loved the song. He's like, oh, well, maybe I got something here. So that's when they realized, hey, we can do this. And people, when they bought the Nimrod album, you had a lot of soccer moms and girls going out and buying that album. That's the only song on that entire album that's that. So they didn't sell as many albums because everyone was bringing back the CDs because they're like, well, this fucking sucks, man. There's only the one song that we like on it. So their album sales suffered for that reason.
I put Geek Stink Breath.
Love that song.
I love that song, and I remember playing the shit out of it, and that's off of Insomniac. So that's their second album. It's their fourth album, I guess.
I mean, you get lost in all that.
And then from the Angus movie soundtrack, and I think it was a throwaway song, but wasn't it Jar?
Yeah, Jason.
Or is it Jar?
Yeah. It's a song for their buddy that passed away.
That's right. It's the initials of like Mike Dirnt's friend that had passed away, but it was some kind of a throwaway song that they didn't feel like it was good enough for an album. And then it wound up, I think there was a movie that came out, Angus. And it was on the movie soundtrack, and we played the shit out of that song, Jar. And that's a really, really good song. Of course, Longview, When I Come Around. I mean, geez, we could have done a top 5. You could have just done the 5 singles off of Dookie. They're fucking great. They are great songs.
And there's a lot more left on the floor here. I mean, you just put on the American Idiot album, you go through it, and you're like, damn it, these songs just go. They can write great songs, and they're not all just in your face either. They got some texture to them. Looks like a lot of Green Day at my house the next couple of days, and I'm sure my wife will be thrilled. Although she loves Green Day too, so it's all good in the crib. Rod, you were talking earlier we were going back and forth about who's the greatest rock star. You just threw it out there into the wind. I'm like, well, what do you mean? And then I think you've already mentioned it. Yeah, we have to quantify that in about 50,000 different ways. Like, how do you quantify who's the greatest dead rock star? Well, Jimi Hendrix, is it Jim Morrison? Is it David Bowie? Is it Eddie Van Halen? So I was like, you know what? Why don't we just put you through a little test?
I'm going to be tested now.
Kind of.
Shit.
There's no pass or fail. It's gonna fuck up your day.
Well, we should say, so we're recording on February 16th, February 19th, 1980, Bon Scott, AC/DC lead singer, dies at 33. That's relatively young. That's very young.
Yeah.
Choking on his own barf. And then February 20th, Kurt Cobain, I believe that's his birthday. So it's just, there were these two big significant, rock stars that, faded away very early. And I was thinking, who's the greatest gone too soon rock star,
I mean, that's a fucking 10-hour podcast for me and you. We could never do it. We'd get wandered in the weeds so far. It'd be too hard, man.
But is it John Lennon? I mean, is it simple? Is it not even, is it inarguable that John Lennon is the biggest rock star gone before his time?
Well, the way he got shot, Kurt Cobain killed himself. So that you got to start putting layers here.
I just talk about they're gone early. I mean, he was 40, right? He was 40 years old, I think.
Yeah, I think he was 40 when he got killed. Yeah. Yeah. No, John Lennon was a shock.
Is that the greatest dead, gone too soon rock star? I think it's inarguable. I mean, Jimi Hendrix, I don't know. It's got to be John Lennon.
Probably. I mean, Kurt Cobain was huge, but I don't know.
Not as big. That's where it gets weird. As John Lennon.
No. I'm not comparing him to
John
Lennon.
Elvis was gone too soon. Elvis was in his 40s.
Yeah. Well, this is where it will get too weird. That's why I've said, why don't we just do a little quiz?
Okay, what is your quiz? What
I'm going to do is I'm going to run down. I'm going to say 2 names. You got to pick the one who you think is bigger. Okay. For instance, I'm just going to throw this out, and this is not going to be easy. This is not going to be easy. You're going to be like, oh fuck, you got to answer. Okay.
This is easy. It's easy. I haven't even done it yet.
Okay. Who's bigger in your mind? Let's put it in your mind. No record sales, no concerts, no nothing like that. No hits. Just off the top of your head, quick answer.
Okay.
Michael Jackson or Elvis? Told you you'd fucking hate this. Michael Jackson or Elvis?
That scumbag Michael Jackson diddled little kids, and I don't know how he gets a pass that he still gets played on the radio and everything else. But Michael Jackson ultimately now is bigger than Elvis.
Wow. Okay. All
Cumulatively,
right.
yes. Over the years, yes.
Okay. All right. That's a good one. It's only gonna get harder from here.
Do you
Okay.
agree or disagree?
I
Are you not playing? Only I'm playing this game.
I'll throw in after you're done. I still think Elvis is the king, man. Everything came from Elvis, basically. Michael Jackson was the gear shift. He changed everything again. I don't know. That's tough. See, this is why we can't fucking have this discussion.
Okay.
All right, moving on. John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix.
Lennon.
Okay, I think that's fair. I mean, your guitar heroes are gonna be like, fuck, man. Hendrix was influential to every guitar player after him, but Lennon, you say Lennon. Okay.
I don't. That's an easy one for me. I mean,
Okay.
I think. Yeah, that was an easy one.
Okay, this would be a good one. Jim Morrison, Freddie Mercury.
Globally, Freddie Mercury's bigger.
Right.
Around the world.
Yeah.
I said it. I say that all the time. I think I probably came out of my fat face today. Queen was much bigger around the world than they ever were here in the United States. They were big, but they weren't the globally huge band that they were everywhere else. So Freddie Mercury by a mile, I think.
Okay. This one's going to test you. This one's really going to test you. Who do you think is bigger? Dead rock star. Okay. Oh, this is going to be hard. John Bonham, Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah. I mean, as great as Bonham is, and I purposely put these people together for reasons. To
I
make it
know.
difficult. So,
I mean,
Drummers-
both bands couldn't go on without him. It's very rare that a band loses, and I hate to diminish the role of a drummer in any band, but most every band would have continued. You lose a drummer, you're moving on.
right.
Call the Who. But yeah, they didn't want to go on without him. And he was one of the all-time great rock drummers. I tend to think that the band just kind of wanted a break anyway. I don't know. I don't know. But Kurt Cobain's bigger.
Yeah. This one's going to be interesting. And I had trouble putting anybody with this guy, so it was hard for me. But I thought, ooh, this would be a good one. Michael Hutchence, Eddie Van Halen. This is hard. And I did this on purpose. I tried to put people I knew you'd like.
Van Halen, I love Michael Hutchence. I think he's one of the all-time great frontmen. I love INXS. I'm not even a closet INXS lover. I love INXS. I always have. They were huge globally.
Right.
Van Halen was bigger, longer, and you're talking about one of the greats. Like, that's an inarguable thing that Eddie is on every list of the greatest guitar players of all time. And I don't think Michael Hutchence is on a whole lot of lists as the greatest singer of all time.
Right.
And INXS did try to go on without him. And they did a cheesy, which I watched it. I kind of liked the show. They did a reality show to be the lead singer of INXS. And Eddie Van Halen is bigger than Michael Hutchence. Although Michael Hutchence, again, when you speak globally, they were huge.
Yep. I was late to the game with the INXS. I didn't appreciate him back then, but now I've grown to really like him a lot more over the years. All right.
You've seen him live. I didn't see INXS live, but you see live footage of him. And I mean, he was just so dynamic.
Yeah.
He just walked in the room and he was a fucking rock star. I mean, he kind of had that, whatever, I know how much you love the Doors and Jim Morrison. He had that. Right. He had that Jim Morrison swagger.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, moving on. Who's the bigger dead rock star? This is interesting. Amy Winehouse or Bob Marley?
Bob Marley.
Yeah.
I think Bob Marley, with the culture and the merchandising and everything that goes along with Bob Marley, the idealism of Bob Marley, everything about that. It's not to say that the death of Amy Winehouse wasn't huge, but Bob Marley, it's timeless.
Right.
And in a way, Amy Winehouse's music is timeless. Am I talking myself out of this? No, Bob Marley was a bigger hit.
Sure.
And I never really was full on reggae guy, but you put on Three Little Birds, I'm in the best mood ever.
Yeah.
I am in the absolute best mood ever. Bob Marley and the Wailers' greatest hits. I'm having a great time. Every fucking song on that CD.
Especially if you're at the beach or at a pool, that just fits perfectly.
Yeah.
All right, couple more. Cliff Burton, Metallica, Keith Moon.
Shit.
I know this is a fun quiz. I like this one. That's a tough one. That one, you're kind of talking a little bit. I know you got a drummer, you got a bass player, but think about their limited time in the bands, but think about their impact in those bands.
Yeah.
Man, I put a lot of fucking thought into this, by the way. Holy shit. Cliff Burton, Keith Moon is tough.
A lot of Metallica. Well, okay, but here's what happened. The Who was huge with Keith Moon. Metallica was just starting to get huge with Cliff.
Yeah.
Metallica's success really came after Cliff Burton's death. And they continued on without him, and they were very respectful of him. But I got to think Keith Moon's contributions, man. Moon the Loon. I got to think that Keith Moon is bigger.
Just from his stories of throwing shit out of hotels. I mean, that's where that comes from, in the limo and driving cars into pools, plus his amazing drumming, apparently.
It is amazing drumming. It's like no one else's drumming, the things that he did. And there's a lot of stuff that's really documented. If you really want to get nerdy and watch some of this stuff in the studio, appreciate the shit that he did. It's awesome. It is awesome. They recorded so much stuff. They had a lot of stuff rolling while he was alive of them recording in the studio. And it's fun to watch. He was just a fun dude. I was hoping they were going to make that movie. I constantly was hearing that they were going to make a movie and it was going to be Mike Myers. He was trying to get that movie made. And I don't know if there just wasn't enough interest in it. So I get it. He's the drummer of The Who. It's not Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, it's a tough one to get globally, get people excited about. All right, two more. This one will be easy. I think, maybe not. Randy Rhoads, Janis Joplin. Who's the bigger dead rock star?
People are going to say Janis Joplin.
Right.
I can't stand her voice, man.
No.
Why don't I like Janis Joplin? She's from Texas. I can't get into it at all. But it was bigger. I mean, Randy, damn. I think Janis Joplin was bigger.
Yeah.
I do. Those were lives that were cut down way, way too short. I'll tell you what, I really do think that we would look at Randy Rhoads. And I do think it's cool that he got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I think he would have been right there neck and neck with Eddie. And all the accolades and all the Guitar Player magazine and the guitars, the signature equipment and the branding of the EVH, Randy Rhoads would have been right there.
Oh, yeah,
I really think that those two guys would have pushed each other, and I think they would have been neck and neck.
And who knows what that would have done? You got iron sharpening iron. The competition always brings out even more out of people, so that would have been amazing. I think Randy Rhoads Eddie Van Halen had the advantage that he was in a band that was having successful hits and had his name on it. Randy Rhoads was the guitar player for Ozzy. It's like Randy had to almost figure out a way down the road, hopefully to break out and be kind of his own band somehow. I don't know how you do that though.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the answer to this question. Could Randy Rhoads sing? Would he have eventually done the Randy Rhoads project or just Randy Rhoads? But if anyone doesn't put Randy Rhoads in the same discussion as like being like one of the all-time greats, he just was gone way, way, way too soon.
Yeah.
He just would have been, he would have been on Eddie's level. He would have been on the same, he would have been on the exact same shelf as Eddie.
All right. One more, and you can't quit the podcast. Okay. You can't quit. That's not an out. That is not an out.
Right here. I haven't quit in 3 weeks, and here we go. He's going to get me on episode 40.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. Okay. Chris Cornell.
You fuckface.
I know. I'm an asshole. That one is tough. I mean, you don't have to answer if you don't want. You want to puss out, maybe go home, hang out. You can do that, but you kind of should answer because people want to know.
Is Randy Rhoads' death bigger?
Stevie Ray Vaughan, Chris Cornell.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is Stevie Ray Vaughan's death bigger than Chris Cornell?
And Stevie Ray Vaughan was young, right? I mean, he wasn't very old when he died, unfortunately.
He's 40.
Oh, okay. Well,
I believe he was around 40.
Still pretty damn young.
Chris had a longer career.
Right. Hits.
Chris is on every greatest lead singer list of all time. Stevie Ray's on a lot of those, but not on every list. I'm talking about short lists. Of course, every great guitar player list, if it's long enough, everyone's going to be on there. Chris is higher up on more greatest of all time lists than Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Right.
You agree with that?
Yeah. I think just his breadth of work, his catalog, Chris Cornell's catalog is whatever he's done.
Chris Cornell's bigger.
He's got
Chris
more
Cornell. Chris Cornell, the death of Chris Cornell is bigger. And I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I love bragging on the fact that I saw him live. I always bring that up. And you bet your ass I brag about that I saw him live. And he was amazing. But Chris was bigger. Shit, that was tough.
I told you you're gonna hate it, and it's just, and that, like, you know, maybe we'll have this conversation in another episode. But it's just, when I saw that, I was like, oof, there's just too much coming out.
Was there anything that you disagreed with me on,
Elvis?
Is there anything that I really got wrong?
No, I think I was kind of on the same with you on most of it. Yeah, the one that really was tough for me was kind of the Cliff Burton, Keith Moon. At first, until you said, hey, but Cliff was there in the early days forming the band. He didn't really get there for the successful ride. Well, Keith Moon was there and he was in part of the successful.
Metallica was just about to be fucking huge.
I know.
They were just about to be huge. And he was the most talented guy in the band. Right. He was the guy that had the music theory. He was the best musician in the band. And I don't know that, it's hard to say that Keith Moon better at what he did than Pete Townsend at what he did? And the answer is no. Pete Townsend is kind of on the genius level of what he does. And, the whole vision and the rock opera and everything that he did. I do think that Pete Townsend, we're not going to talk about all the greatness until he passes away. And then everyone's going to come forward and say, this guy was an absolute genius. But Keith Moon did some stuff, man. He was amazing. Go look up some of that stuff of Who in the Studio.
Yeah, I've never seen that stuff.
It's amazing. And he is just a goofball. He's probably drunk, and everybody loved having him around. He was the guy that everybody loved to have around. I will say this, as drunk as he was, he did seem to be a guy that showed up. He loved being in the Who. He didn't seem to be like a miserable guy. Of course, these all people have dark, things, but something about Keith Moon, man, he was just this happy, wasted guy. And he was just crazy talented. He was a crazy, great drummer.
Yeah. See, and then you look at these lists and you're like, and we could have a conversation about so many of these guys. Like, well, what, like the Randy Rhoads, we started to go down that road. Like, well, what would have happened? Would he have gone and formed his own band, got some great singers and put together a project and call it Rhoads and gone on to into the stratosphere like Van Halen, and they would have had these competing bands and the merch and the tours and all that. That's the sad part. We'll never know. you know,
True.
brutal,
True.
fucking brutal. So yeah, we'll talk about
Nice little quiz, Jason.
I'm here to help, man. I knew that was gonna. You'd be like, what? You're gonna be thinking about that the rest of the night. Now you're gonna be like, fuck, nah. This is why. This is this. This is why that. And this. Yeah, that wasn't easy.
Well, let's wrap this mess up.
Yeah, I've had enough of this for tonight. Any final thoughts, Rod?
Do you ever out loud or write down your gratitude?
For there's not more to the sentence.
Things that you're grateful for. Do you ever just say it out loud? Do you ever verbalize or write down, this is what you're thankful for?
Not to myself, no.
It is supposed to be a great way to start the day. There's a couple of things that you can do in the morning. And, you could, of course, you could tug one and knock one off. I kind of don't like to do that before I go to work. Gratitude. You're supposed to think about what you're thankful for. And I'm going to try. I don't know that I can do this. And this isn't, it's kind of a little yoga-y and that kind of shit, but you're supposed to at least say it out loud, or you're supposed to maybe keep something by the side of the bed. And you're supposed to write it down to show some gratitude. My problem is you're just going to make up shit every day. When I went to the priest when I was a little kid and you had to go to confession, every single confession I went to sounded exactly the same. Okay. I fought with my brother, fought with my sister. I didn't listen to my mom. I didn't listen to dad. I was blah, 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 blah. I could have just said, dude, I'm lying to you right now. I'm just trying to get out of this. I was forced to come in here.
Right.
The gratitude thing, you're supposed to kind of talk about, you wake up and it's another day. And I'm not trying to get too deep at the end of this podcast, but I keep laughing these things off. There's all these things you do in the morning. Do some stretches. The science behind making your bed every day is kind of freaking me out a little bit. It seems like that's a really cool thing. I went and watched the Admiral, the guy that did the commencement speech at UT, a couple of years ago. Guy was fucking training to be a Navy SEAL. And he said, what's the first thing I had to do in the morning? We had to make our bed. It had to be pristine. Like he's being trained to be a killer, a killing machine. Yet the most important thing that at that moment, you got to make your bed. And he said that moved and it played into other things of his life. And it's like this gratitude thing. I'm going to try. I've been laughing it off forever, and I'm not Mr. Spiritual guy. And I don't have a fucking dream catcher hanging from my rearview mirror, but I might start writing down some things that I'm thankful for. And I'm going to get back to you to see, number one, if I continue it, if I laugh it off, but I'm going to put a fucking pad of paper next to my bed, and I'm going to try to write something when I wake up in the morning of what I'm thankful for.
Well, number one, my good buddy, Jason.
I'm so thankful that every Wednesday I get to talk to Jason Ginty.
Dude, that's sweet.
That'll be my gratitude tomorrow morning.
I love it.
Will not be, but I'm not saying that if I do run out of shit that you won't wind up on that list.
Eventually, in 20 years, right? Yeah. No, I see where that works. And I've always heard that, like, if you're not motivated, like you're feeling lazy and you just can't get your shit together, you can't get moving to, you got a laundry list of shit you got to do. They always say, get up and wash a couple dishes. It jumpstarts you. It gets you going, like making the bed. It also creates discipline. Discipline is the key to all of it. Like I stopped eating fucking meat a year and 4 months ago. I stopped drinking a year and 4 months ago, and I started running. Why? Just fucking wanted to do it. There's no reason for any of this shit that I've been doing the last year and 4 months. I just one day went, fuck it, I'm done. But I had to start with discipline. I set my alarm and I fucking hated it. And I got up and I started just doing these little tiny things, and it just started to grow and grow and grow. You got to start with making your bed. It's totally true, man. It totally works, but you got to stay with the program. So if you get your ass up, even if you got to put a reminder in your phone, that's not cheating. That's just a reminder. Okay. Write down my damn gratitude this morning. As soon as your alarm goes off and 2 minutes later, another alarm goes off, gratitude time. Boom. Let's write it down. Once you start 30 days of discipline, now you got to have it. You got to have it. Now you got to keep going with it.
I just don't live in that world, but I feel like it can't hurt me. I've heard of this affirmation thing forever. Even going back to Dinah would do this stuff. And I would just go, I don't want your mamby-jamby shit. You go do your little thing over there. I don't care. You go have fun with your affirmations. I'm doing just fine. I don't know what's going on in my life right now, but I feel like maybe I need some affirmations in the morning. I'm going to take a stab at this. I'm not going to go out because I don't want it to be fake. I want it to be, I really want to wake up and think, okay, what am I thankful for? And it's easy. You just say, you know what, man, I'm thankful, for my family. I'm thankful for my kid and that type of thing. I feel like I'm going to run out after a couple of days. How much shit can you be thankful for,
No,
but I'm going to give it a stab.
You won't, because as you're going through your day, you'll be like, wow, that fucking interview turned out great. Or, oh, wow, you know what? I'm thankful that I freaking did a little extra research today and this bit came out better. You're going to find a million different things. I'm thankful that asshole in that semi didn't fucking mush me in this car today. You're going to see a lot of shit that's you'll start thinking of it. Actually, what it's going to do, Rod, is it's going to make you appreciate everything a little bit more. Once you get the habit going, you're going to look at things a little bit differently.
I just don't know if I don't know if that, I don't feel like I'm a chowder fountain of gratitude when I wake up in the morning. It's early. I'm pissed. It's 3:20. I don't know that stuff's going to flow out of me. I might need to be one of those guys that gets that little desk calendar and I just need to read something nice every day. I'm going to try it on my own. I'll get back to you.
Man, and I go back to it all the time. When I started running, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just started running. And then I started researching, I started learning it, and I started dealing with it. And then I come to find out after all the research, it's only like a certain percentage is the physical and a lot of it is mental. You got to retrain your brain. Anything you want to do, you got to work on that part of it. Yeah, you can go out and lift the weights. You can do what you got to do. It's the mental part, man. And that's part of it. That's actually a cool idea. I like the gratitude thing.
Any final thoughts from you? I didn't mean for mine to get so deep and so namaste.
Christ. I know to get you for Christmas now, a bunch of rocks and a dream catcher. That's great. Rod, with the school thing with your kid, do you do carpool? Do you have like a carpool or do you have like a bus?
No, it's just a drop-off situation right now.
Gotcha.
So no carpooling situation. Everyone, because my kid is in pre-K, so everyone picks up their kids at different times.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You want everybody there in roughly the same window, but you can come get your kid anytime you want. So there's not yet.
Okay. When I say carpool, I don't mean you driving the kids to soccer. I mean like dropping your kid off at school and picking them up at the end of the day. In New Orleans, and I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but in New Orleans, the school system is weird. We don't have a whole lot of buses. So you got to drive your kid to school every day. I drive my kid to school every day, cross town. And you get there and there's just one lane in to drop the kid off. And the parents pull up, opens the door, kid goes out, close the door, car should take off. Carpool should flow fairly smoothly, right? I've been doing the same thing for like 4 years in the school. You think most of those parents have any fucking idea how to get their kid out of their car in a timely fashion, dude? Like if you roll up to drop your kid off and you don't even need to stop, get it at least under 5 miles an hour. They'll be fine. They'll figure it out. Okay. Good enough. We got it. Okay. I watch every day. And my son now, he just fucking puts his head down. He's like, you're going to explode at some point, Dad. We get there and we roll up in there and we're early. We're early. I want the boy to get in there, get his shit together, not be stressed for the day, right? I want him just cruising there. All right, man, I'm early. I'm good. He can write down his affirmations that way or just what he's thankful for. And he never gets there early because we wait in this line for these fuckers. These parents don't know how to teach their kids. I see them brushing the kid's hair. It's your turn in line to open the door and get your kid out.
This is the same person like back in the day. They were fucking around looking for their checkbook to pay for their groceries. And I have no time for people like that in my life.
No, and it's not just one person. It's a million of these fuckers. And these parents, they're grabbing their backpack. Dude, you've been in the car for at least 15, 20 minutes. that backpack. You should have picked that up as we turn the corner. You know what I mean? Get your kids' shit together. You ain't got to brush their hair. You don't have to tuck in their shirt. Kick them out of the damn car when you drop off at carpool. It's so easy. It's so, my kid's like, he's strapped on. He's got his backpack on. He's leaning forward, hand on the door. I go, we going slow enough? He's like, yeah, let's go. Boom, get out. Bye. See, those are the little disciplines in life, Rod. This is what I'm talking about. These little things make the whole world go just smoother if everyone would do these simple things.
That's traffic every day, dude. What you're doing is just a version of traffic. It's just a version of asshole drivers.
Yeah, and I don't get it. I don't understand. It's a simple process. Everyone learns. If everyone learned the same rules and followed them, I think traffic would be a whole hell of a lot better. But it's not how it works. But carpool, dude, it's been driving me nuts for years, and I just had to get that off my chest. And I feel better now. I feel better now that the world knows about carpool. Get your kid ready to fucking get out of the car.
Just in life, be ready to go. Just be ready to go for everything. Just be ready to go for everything at all times, okay? That's it.
It's a simple, fumble fucking around to get out. Like you know, the Uber shows. I mean, how many times does this go on? Hey, I just called the Uber and you're leaving with some friends or your chick or whatever. And Uber, he's down the street. I'm already walking down the driveway towards the street. I'm out. I'm ready to go. There are purses being found. There's phones being looked for. There's everything. It's like when I say, hey,
you really caught him off guard with that Uber that they told you to call. I
said, are you ready for me to call the Uber? Yep. Okay. That means you got all your shit. You're ready to go. You finish your drink. You got all this. No. Nope.
Didn't he get out to the car? And I'm like, has everybody got their ID? Oh, we need our ID? Yeah, we're fucking going out. You need an ID. Don't ever leave your house without your identification. The thing that says who you are in case you're in a ditch somewhere. It's not heavy. It's not cumbersome. Bring your fucking license with you. You think that's ever come up in my life?
I don't think it has.
Why would you go somewhere without your license?
I don't know. Just get your shit together. All right. Everyone get their shit. You know what? I'll be grateful if everyone's got their shit together.
That'll be my first one tomorrow morning. I'm happy to be alive. And I hope everybody out there has their shit together.
I don't think that's gratitude. I think that's more of dreams. Writing down wishes. Yeah.
A threat.
Don't write those.
You guys don't have your fucking shit together. If you're not fucking squared away today, you're in trouble. I'm going to really try this thing. And I'm not going to do that.
No, don't write down threats. That looks bad. That looks really bad if somebody finds that shit. All right, dude. Episode 40 in the books. We got 40 done. Can you believe that shit?
Shit.
Thanks for listening. Check us out. Playpants Pod on social media. We're on the YouTube, man. We're getting more subscribers. Please subscribe, smash that button, like us, leave your comments because we will reply back to you. And hopefully we'll put another one out next week. We'll get consistent again, I hope.
Oh, you're gonna see a different me. I'm gonna be in such a great mood.
Oh, wait. Maybe we can't. Wait, what's the week of we'll talk about this afterwards, but Mardi Gras is coming up. Are we gonna be in any shape to do a podcast after Mardi Gras?
Well, I mean, Wednesday is Wednesday. I'm not leaving, and so we'll see.
All right, dude. Well, anyway, it's a good podcast. Good night. I like it.
All right, guys. Thank you. Like what he said. Do everything that he said. Thank you, guys. Comment and our top 5 Green Day songs. What are your top 5 Green Day songs? One of my favorite things is looking at the list that you guys submit. A lot of you are putting them on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page, and I see them all, and we see them all. So please, man, we want to see your list as well.
And every time I do, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about that song. So it's great when we get to, this is a community thing, man. It's like, if you all contribute, then it's like, oh yeah, man, there's another song I gotta go fucking dig up and listen to. I love it.
Yep.
All right. Wait.
Bye, guys.
Let's go. It's time. Put on Playpants.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. See us on our YouTube channel and follow our social media pages at Playpants Pod.